Chapter 12, Part 2. How can technical safeguard protect against security threat? As listed in Figure 12.8, technical safeguard involve the hardware and software component of an IS. There are identification and authentication, encryption, firewalls, malware protection, and design for secure application. Identification and authentication. Every IS today should require user to sign on with a username and password. The username identifies the user. The process of identification and password authenticate the user, or the process of authentication. Passwords have important weaknesses. Because of this problem, some organizations choose to use smart cards and biometric authentication in addition to password. Smart card is a plastic similar to credit card. Unlike credit card, debit, or ATM card, which have a magnetic strip, smart card has a microchip. The chip holds far more data than a magnetic strip. It's loaded with identifying data. Users of smart card are required to enter a personal identification number or PIN to be authenticated. Biometric authentication uses personal physical characteristics such as fingerprints, facial features, and retina scan to authenticate users. Encryption is the process of transforming clear text into coded, unintelligible text for secure storage or communication. A key is a number used to encrypt data. It is called a key because it unlocks a message, but it is a number used with an encryption algorithm and not a physical thing like key to your car. With symmetric encryption, the same key, or a number, is used to encode and to decode. With asymmetric encryption, two keys are used. One key to encode the message and the other key decodes the message. Symmetric encryption is simpler and much faster than asymmetric encryption. A special version of asymmetric encryption, which is public key and private key, is used on the internet. Most secure communication over the internet uses a protocol called HTTPS. With HTTPS, data are encrypted using a protocol called Secure Socket Layer, or SSL, which is also known as Transport Layer Security, or TSL. SSL or TLS uses a combination of public, private, and symmetric encryption. The basic idea is symmetric encryption is fast and preferred, but the two parties don't share a symmetric key. So, the two parties use public and private encryption to share the same symmetric key. Once they both have the key, they use symmetric encryption. Firewall. A firewall is a computing device that prevents unauthorized network access. A firewall can be a special purpose computer, or it can be a program on a general purpose computer or on a router. Organizations normally use multiple firewalls. A perimeter firewall sits outside the organizational network. It is the first device that internet traffic encounters. In addition, some organizations employ internal firewalls inside the organizational network. A packet filtering firewall examines each part of a message and determines whether to let that part pass. To make this decision, it examines the source address, the destination addresses, and other data. No computer should connect to the internet without firewall protection. My ISP provide firewall for their customer. Malware protection. Malware is virus, Trojan horses, worm, spyware, and hardware. A virus is a computer program that replicates itself. The program code that causes unwanted or harmful activity is called the payload. Trojan horses are viruses that pretend as useful program or files. A worm is a virus that spread using the internet or other computer networks. Software programs are installed on the user computer without the user knowledge or permission. Hardware is similar to spyware, but it watches user activities and produces pop-up ads. Malware safeguard. It is possible to avoid most malware using the following safeguards. Number one, install an antivirus and anti-spyware program on your computer. Two, set up your anti-malware program to scan your computer frequently. Three, update malware definition. Four, open email attachment only from known sources. Five, promptly install software updates from legitimate sources. Six, browse only in reputable internet neighborhoods. Design for secure application. When designing software application with security in mind, for example, the app will store user privacy setting in a database, and the app will first read the user privacy setting before revealing any data stored in the app or in the related network. Also, the app should be designed to process the data on servers. That design means that such data need be transmitted over the internet after it is created or modified on servers. Two organizational units are responsible for data safeguard: data administration and database administration. Data administration refers to an organization-wide function that is in charge of developing data policies and enforcing data standards. Database administration refers to a function that pertains to a particular database. ERP, or Enterprise Resource Planning, CRM, Customer Relationship Management, and MRP, Material or Manufacturer Resource Planning databases, each have a database administration function. Database administration develops procedures and practices to ensure efficient and orderly multi-user processing of the database, to control changes to the database structure, and to protect the database. The organization should protect sensitive data by storing it in encrypted form. One potential problem with stored data is that the key might be lost, or that disgruntled or terminated employees might destroy it. Because of this possibility, when data are encrypted, a trusted party should have a copy of the encrypted key. This safety procedure is sometimes called key escrow. Another safeguard is to periodically create backup copies of database content. The organization should store at least some of these backups off premises, possibly in a remote location. Additionally, IT personnel should periodically practice recovery that the backups are valid and that effective recovery procedure exists. Physical security is another data safeguard. The computers that run the DBMS and all devices that store database data should reside in locked control access facilities. When organizations store databases in the cloud, all of the safeguards should be part of the cloud service contract. How can human safeguard protect against security threat? Human safeguard involve the people and the procedure component of information system. In general, human safeguard result when authorized users follow appropriate procedure for system use and recovery. Restricting access to unauthorized user requires effective authentication method and careful user account management. In addition, appropriate security procedure must be designed as part of every information system, and users should be trained on the importance and use of those procedures. Human safeguard for employees. Effective human safeguards begin with definition of job tasks and responsibilities. In general, job description should provide a separation of duties and authorities. For example, no single individual should be allowed to both approve expense and write checks. Instead, one person should approve expenses, another pay them. Similarly, in inventory, no single person should be allowed to authorize an inventory withdrawal and also remove the items from inventory. Given appropriate job description, user account should be defined to give users the least possible privilege needed to perform their job. For example, user whose job description does not include modifying data should be given account with read-only privileges. Similarly, user account should prohibit user from accessing data their job description does not require. Because of the problem of semantic security, even access to seemingly harmless or safe data may need to be limited. Finally, the security sensitivity should be documented for each position. Some jobs involve highly sensitive data. For example, employee compensation, salesperson quotas, and proprietary marketing or technical data. Other positions involve no sensitive data. Documenting position sensitivity enables security personnel to prioritize their activities in accordance with the possible risks and loss. Hiring and screening. Security consideration should be part of the hiring process. If the position involves no sensitive data and no access to information system, then screening for information system security purposes will be minimal. When hiring for high sensitive position, extensive interview, references, and background investigation are appropriate. The security screening not only for new employees, but also to employees who are promoted into sensitive position. Disseminating and enforcement. Employees cannot be expected to follow security policies and procedures that they do not know about. Therefore, employees need to be aware of the security policies, procedures, and responsibilities they will have. Employee security training begins during new employee training with the explanation of general security policies and procedures. That general training must be amplified in accordance with the position sensitivity and responsibilities. Promoted employees should receive security training that is appropriate to their new positions. Enforcement consists of three independent factors: responsibility, accountability, and compliance. First, the company should clearly define the security responsibilities of its position. The design of the security program should be such that employees can be held accountable for security violation. Procedure should exist so that when critical data are lost, it is possible to determine how the loss occurred and who is accountable. Finally, the security program should encourage security compliance. Employee activities should regularly be monitored for compliance, and management should specify the disciplinary action to be taken in light of non-compliance. Management attitude is crucial. Employee compliance is greater when management demonstrates, both in word and deed, a serious concern for security. If management write password on staff bulletin board, shout password down hallways, or ignore physical security procedure, then employee security attitudes and employee security compliance will suffer. Termination. Companies also must establish security policies and procedures for the termination of employees. Many employee terminations are friendly and occur as the result of promotion, retirement, or when employee resign to take another position. Standard human resources policy should ensure that system administrators receive notification in advance of the employee's last day so that they can remove account and password. The need to recover keys for encrypted data and any other special security requirement should be part of the employee's out processing. Unfriendly termination and more difficult because employees may be tempted to take malicious or harmful action. In such a case, system administrator may need to remove user account and password prior to notifying the employee of his or her termination. Other actions may be needed to protect the company's data asset. For example, a terminated sales employee may attempt to take the company confidential customer and sales prospect data for future use at another company. The terminating employer should take steps to protect those data prior to the termination. Human safeguard for non-employee personnel. Business requirement may necessitate opening information system to non-employee personnel, temporary personnel, vendor, partner personnel, and the public. The contract that governs the activity with non-employee personnel should call for security measures appropriate to the sensitivity measures to the sensitivity of the data and the information system resources involved. Company should require vendor and partner to perform appropriate screening and security training. The contract should also mention specific security possibilities that are particular to the work to be performed. Companies should provide account and password with the least privilege and remove those accounts as soon as possible. The situation differs with public users of website and other openly accessible information system. It is exceedingly difficult and expensive to hold public users accountable for security violation. In general, the best safeguard for threat from public users is to harden the website and other facility against attack as much as possible. Hardening a site means to take extraordinary measures to reduce a system vulnerability. Hardened site is special version of the operating system. The lockdown or eliminate operating system features and functions that are not required by the application. Hardening is actually a technical safeguard, but it is the most important safeguard against public users. Finally, note that the business relationship with the public and with some partner differ from that with temporary personnel and vendors. The public and some partners use the information system to receive a benefit. Consequently, safeguards need to protect such users from internal company security problems. A disgruntled employee who maliciously changes prices on a website potentially damages both public users and business partners. This is the end of Chapter 12, Part 2. In the next part, we will discuss account administration and management. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.